when I think about community, I think about how you're being fed in different energy. One person can't be everything to you because they're just one person, but multiple people can fill multiple facets of your life. All right. So my name is Samuel. I just recently moved to Pittsburgh. I am, I guess, a community organizer and content creator. I love social media, and I think it's a powerful tool to be creative. I'm a part-time server for now, but I love doing marketing and just anything creative. I'm a musician. Um, yeah, and I love bringing people together and studying. I'm a big study person. Should throw that in there. Um, all right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living both online and offline? I think definitely offline is probably the easiest. I feel like I'm very authentic offline. I like to show up as myself, you know, like in my relationships, with my friendships, at my job. That's why I always have to have a job that aligns with my passions or just something that I like doing, because I just can't show up somewhere and pretend to be someone that I'm not. I've never been good at faking that. Um, and that's why I'm a bad liar too. I tend to be like pretty honest about things. Yeah, I think offline is probably the most authentic that I live. But online, I think I learned about 2 years ago, when I moved to Pittsburgh, that sharing online is a beautiful thing, and I love when people can share authentically. I think you should 100% just be honest about things that you're going through when you're making content, when you're, you know, sharing online. That's what's going to get people to connect with you, is when you share vulnerable parts of yourself online. But that's why it's called vulnerable, because it can be used as a weapon against you. So I think that there are things that you should share online, that you are comfortable sharing, and that you know that if someone were to use this as a weapon against me, I can protect myself against that. You always want to take care of yourself so that you can continue to keep showing up authentically offline and online. But I learned that after I went through some difficult things, of just sharing too much of myself online and it being misinterpreted. And so I shared a lot of myself with a lot of different people. And I think the reason for that was because I wanted people to see me and I wanted people to understand me, but not everyone is going to understand you. Not everyone is going to see you, and you have to make peace with that. And so now when I go online and I show the authentic parts of myself, I make sure to ask myself, what am I comfortable sharing? And what are some things that I can keep to myself, that nobody needs to know? You know, only me and the people that I decide, so that I can just protect myself with. So yeah, and sometimes I'm like torn apart by that, because I do still want to share so many parts of myself. So what I think I've come to is, you can like authentically show up in ways that can be interpreted through creativity. I really look up to artists that are kind of controversial, like Doja Cat or Kanye, and they, you know, not everybody might agree with their opinions. I don't even agree with their opinions sometimes, but I like that they're able to take the things that are vulnerable about themselves and create art out of it, and then allow it to be interpreted by whoever is listening to that art or seeing that art. And so when I want to show the vulnerability and I want to show the authenticity, instead of doing it right in people's faces, I want to do it through a creative means so that people can interpret it however they want to interpret it. And then it's still kind of, you know, mysterious, and no one can really use that against me. Well, they can, but yeah. Okay. Next question. What brought you to Pittsburgh, and how does it compare to Miami? I love these questions. I think like you're great. Okay, so I always say to people that I came here because I love hiking and I love nature, and I do, and that's like a huge part of why I moved to Pittsburgh. I was on a road trip from Philadelphia to Kansas City, and then from Kansas City to California, and I've done 4 cross-country road trips by myself. And I stopped by this little town in the middle of the night, and I was like, this looks interesting. There's mountains everywhere, and I love mountains, so I want to know what this little town is. And I stayed at a hotel Woke up the next morning, got up bright and early, I think it was like 9 a.m., and went through the Fort Pitt Tunnel. And I remember coming in and just being shocked by the city. I mean, as most of us are when we drive through that tunnel. I was like, this is beautiful. And then I remember going to Lawrenceville, going to Espresso Almano, having myself a coffee, and it was so beautiful. It was summer. And I was like, this is probably one of the best cities that I've been in so far throughout my time in the country. And then I got on a scooter, and I like those electronic scooters that were around downtown for a while. They're not there anymore because of lawsuits, but they're pretty dangerous. I got on a scooter, and then I like went through the downtown, and there was a festival, like I think it was like Three Rivers Arts Festival, and I was like, oh my gosh, this downtown is so alive and amazing. And then I went to Point State Park, and I was like, this is a beautiful park, and I just fell in love with the city like right there and then. I was like, this is beautiful. I got a little sticker to put on my water bottle because I had all these stickers of different places that I went to on that water bottle, and I lost the water bottle. I don't know where it is anymore. I'm so sad. But yeah, and then I left, and I never thought about Pittsburgh again until I was thinking about places where I wanted to live, and I knew that I wanted to live somewhere around the Appalachian Mountain Range. But I didn't want too small of a town, and I didn't want too big of a city. And so my friend on a call, she was like, you remember that place that you really, really loved? And she's like, what was it, like Pittsburgh? And I was like, yeah. She's like, have you thought about going there? And I was like, actually, like, no, I didn't even think about Pittsburgh. Like, I had just like forgotten how much I like loved that city. And so I got on a plane, and I went to Pittsburgh. I think it was like $300, and it was a weekend trip. And I started looking at apartments, and I found this beautiful apartment. It was super cheap, and I just felt like everything was aligning. And I went to go get coffee, and then these numbers that I've always had my whole life, I think they're like my lunch numbers, like showed up on the coffee like screen. It was like number 3, what, you know, you're up for your coffee. And I was like, this is a sign. I was like, everything is just working out. And so I knew that I had to be there, and I just felt like it was divine intervention. I think the way that it compares to Miami, it does not compare like at all. Like it's like the complete opposite, and that's why I like it. I don't want Pittsburgh to be Miami. I think Miami is for a specific type of person, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it just doesn't align with me and what I like to do. And so that's why I came here. I think in comparison, the people in Miami have been voted as one of the rudest people in the entire country. And when I came here, I thought everyone was so friendly and everyone genuinely cared about you. Like, I remember me and my friend who also came from Miami, we were in a bar. We walked into the bar, and they were like, oh, they just gave us like free, like a glass of water. And then me and her looked at each other, and we're like, we didn't order this. And then they're like, no, like it's on the house. Like, it's like just a glass of water. Like, and then we're like, oh, like, and we were so like shocked because they were so nice and friendly. And we were like, I just jaded, I guess. And we're like, what is this? Like a glass of water? Like without even asking? Like that never happened in Miami. So it's just like the hospitality, it's so weird to think about, but it's just so different here. Everyone, even if they don't care, at least they will pretend. And at least they will like ask you questions that are deep and try to get to know you besides just what are you wearing? What are you driving? Like, well, how much money do you have? These are things that most people here in Pittsburgh don't really care about, and I think it's because it's that small little town, but also kind of big. It's like a good medium size. So yeah, I don't think that the cultures compare at all, and I don't want them to. But that's why I came here, and I've loved every single second of it, and severely changed the trajectory of my life, and I think the best way possible. I didn't wait I waited till I was 28 to leave my parents' house, and that's when I really felt like I was ready, and making this my home, starting here. Sometimes I feel like I'm living my dream, and I'm really thankful for that. Like I just want this to continue forever. So, what drives you to create community, and what's your mission with Yinzer's Meet? So, community is so important to me. I don't know if I'll ever have a traditional life of settling down, getting married, having kids. I'm already 30, so who knows? That might be in the picture. But personally, I have always thought, why invest all this time and energy into just one person? That's like investing your entire foundation into one pillar. I think it's amazing and beautiful, and we need that. And I think that I would love to have that. But why one pillar when you can have many different foundations? I'm not promoting like polygamy or whatever, polyamory. But like, but I just like when I think about community, I think about how you're being fed in different energy. One person can't be everything to you because they're just one person. But multiple people can fill multiple facets of your life. And I think when people finally understand that, they will appreciate community. And most people are missing that. They think that that one person is going to fulfill their creativity, fulfill their romantic life, fulfill, their survival needs or whatever. And no, there's going to be people that are going to make you laugh. There's going to be people that are going to, you're going to be able to talk deeply with. There's going to be people that you don't want to talk deeply with. You just want to have a superficial conversation. There's someone out there for every part of whatever need that you have, and vice versa. And when we fulfill those things in one another, it's like a beauty of just like this machine that just works perfectly. And it's like our bodies. The finger is not able to function without like the control of the mind and the muscles and so many other attachments. And that's what I think about when I think of community. I'm like, I will not be able to function in my purpose and my destiny if I am not connected to the mind and to the muscles and to the ligaments. And so all these little pieces that don't seem very important but are extremely important. So plugging yourself into that, it can change your life, honestly. So everyone has a gift to contribute. Everyone has a strength. Um, we like to do things. Sometimes I like to do things by myself, and I realize I need that other person. Sometimes I don't have discernment. Sometimes I don't have hope. Sometimes I don't have different things in my life, and they have that, and I'm trying to muster it up in myself to create that in me when that's supposed to come from someone else. And so I like doing a community and bringing people together brings those strengths, and it betters everyone together, and so it's like, and then it's not just about you all the time. And I tend to be selfish. I think we all can be really selfish, and I try to call myself out on it when I am selfish, because I think it limits you. It limits you, and you become a weak person when you're selfish, uh, based off what I just said. So I'm like, okay, I gotta call this out, and I want to change that, and the only way I can change that is through community, and to focus not on myself but focus on other people, and I've always lived on off of that, is an other centered lifestyle. So when I think about community, it's not just, oh, this is so I can improve myself, going back to me. It's like, no, this is because it's about other people, and when we all grow together, it's all good for the world, for the planet. Like, why can't we just get along and just bake cookies and, no, so that's me. What's your mission with Yinzer's Me? I think like my mission is exactly that. A big part of it was when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. It was really hard for me to meet friends, and I went to all these different events like a date night and speed dating, and every little event had their strengths and their weaknesses. And I wanted to, from my experiences, I wanted to change that. Like, I was like, okay, I like this, so I'll take that from here, and I like that from this event, I'll take that from here, and then I'm gonna put my own spin on it, and I'm gonna introduce things that I feel like they lacked in that area, because I wanted to meet people. I wanted to make it easier to meet people so that I could build that community, and I can have a friend for every area of my life where I needed one, and where I could be a friend for them as well. I think that's so fulfilling, and there's just so much purpose in that, and I have to live on purpose. I know, like, that's kind of like what makes me, I guess, an Aquarius, or so they say. I don't know too much about zodiacs, but it's like you gotta live in purpose and make a difference, make an impact, and that's every day. If I'm not making a purpose, if I'm not doing my purpose or living on impact, I just feel like, what's the point of living? So, so once with my mission, creating that, helping people to seamlessly, effortlessly meet people through fun events, where it's like I walk in, I'm solo, I'm shy, I'm nervous, I don't know, what to say to someone, or I want to make that super easy, and make people feel that sometimes there's people out there who they don't feel like they're good at socializing. I want to make it easy for them. I want to make the underdog feel like the big dog, and and just be kind. Maybe people who have had a more difficult life than what you could imagine. So that's a big part of my mission with Answers Me. And then also just like exploring the city and making this city fun. I feel like when I moved here, the number one question I got the most was, why did you go from Miami to here? Like, Pittsburgh sucks. There's nothing to do here. That was all I would ever hear. So that's my mission in transforming the culture here. It's like, it doesn't have to suck. We can make this a beautiful place to live in, a fun and exciting. It really does. There's so many. I that's what I do. I go to different venues, different businesses. I see the beauty in what they're doing, and I'm like, let me help other people see the beauty in what these people are doing by them living their dreams and starting their businesses, helping one another once again. So that's my mission. What's your favorite thing about Yinzer's Meat? There's so many things that I love about doing Yinzer's Meat. I love, one thing, I'll tell you one thing I don't love is that I never get to meet people, which is like the whole thing. Like, everyone comes in and they meet people, but I am so busy hosting, checking people in, making sure everyone is having an incredible experience. I never get to meet anybody. So the whole reason why I started it, it's like the downfall. I'm never able to like make friends. It isn't until like afterward that everyone's leaving. I'm like, let me get your social media, or like, hey, don't leave yet. I want to get your number. Like, so that's my least favorite thing. But my favorite thing is definitely being creative and creating the events. I have these insane ideas sometimes that are just like, who thought of this? Like, I thought of doing a fake wedding, and we did it entirely, like a whole wedding that was fake. It was like a wedding reception. We had a guest book. We cut the cake. We fed it to one another, like, for people to meet. They like would come up in twos and feed each other cake. So I just love the way that I can be creative and have an outlet to be creative through event making. And another thing I think is just when I hear success stories of people who meet people at my event. There was these two girls that they met at my event, and they happened to be neighbors with one another. They didn't even know. And then they are like super best friends now. Like, they hang out all the time. They come to the events sometimes. So just people actually forming those connections. I'm always like, oh my gosh, like, I want to know, like, when you walked out of here, I don't get to always follow up with people. So if you've met at one of my events and you've made friends at one of my events, like, tell me. Because I made one of my first friends at a speed friending event that I went to. And his name's Brandon. We've been friends ever since that event. And he introduced me to a bunch of his friends. I was able to get my job through one of his friends. So he's made an incredible impact on my life, and I met him through an event like my events. So that's another thing that I love about doing those events. And something I don't love is another thing I don't love is the setup. That's one thing where it's like, I wish I could just pay someone to like decorate and lug all this stuff that I have, like a big box and like a photo booth, and like, that's one thing I don't like about it. All right, what have you learned about people through hosting these events? That's a great question. Like I said, I don't really meet too many people, but I think from what I've observed is that there can be people that are really closed off. And I don't know why they buy a ticket to come to my event. Like, I try to make it very clear that like the entire point of coming to these events is for you to meet someone that you would not normally talk to or you wouldn't know. You know, like this isn't Tinder, this isn't, you know, like the Facebook dating. You're not here to swipe on someone just because you don't like their looks or just because they look like someone you might not be interested in. I have made some incredible, unlikely friends through a lot of events that I would have never thought I would have anything in common with these people. Like I remember I went to an event one time and there was a school teacher and she was like 40 years old. And I'm like, I don't have anything in common with this lady. And she was so funny and so intelligent. And then I went up to her afterward and I was like, we gotta like stay in contact. Like you are incredible. Like I'd want to be around you. And she probably thought I was hitting on her, so she didn't like contact me again. But I was like genuinely like I was like I want to be your friend. Like so yeah, like that's one thing that I've learned about people is that they're more closed off than they realize. They're just looking for what they want. And you can really miss out on the potential of what life has coming for you when you close yourself off to opportunities like that. Like that one, you know, weird kid in the corner that you don't want to talk to might just be the person that's going to contribute this incredible impact to your life. And because you were just didn't understand them, you close yourself off to them, you missed out on that opportunity. And that's why I don't like the value system. I think like values are great, but if you really think about the value system, you're saying this is what is important to me, and if you don't have what is important to me, then I'm not interested in what you have to offer. So let's say I like honesty, like my value is in honesty. A liar comes my way and I'm like, I don't like you because you're lying a lot. But they might have an incredible other character skill or whatever, or they have something in their personality that you just missed out on because you valued the honesty and they had a flaw in that. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm like, I don't want to miss out on things just because I valued this really hard, you know? It's great to like, I love honesty. I don't like liars, but it's like, man, you know, I've had a lot of liars in my life and they contributed good things. Some things were bad, but some things were good. And so that's how it kind of has to be. Instead of having a value system, I kind of live off of the excellency like system. It's like, just try to be excellent in everything that you do, and try not to have expectations. So maybe I've learned and from observing people in my events through that. How has building community changed you? I think tremendously. It has made me realize how much more selfish I am, for sure. Like I'm like when I'm watching and I'm observing and even when I'm in business and contacting, I think I reflect about things that I did in the past that I was like, oh, like let's take for example, like I'll reach out to a business and I'll be like, hey, I want to collab or I want to work with you guys or whatever. And then they don't respond or they reject me. And I think about the times in my life when someone might have reached out to me and wanted me to help them do something and I maybe rejected or didn't respond. I think that's why it's important in community. Like people can show you and tell you the things that you're blinded to. And if you don't have people around you close enough, like you never know, oh, I can improve that in my life. So that's one thing that community has changed me in. Give me a fun fact that something people wouldn't expect about you. I like old things. Like I moved into a Victorian home and it is from 1886. It's about 130 years old. It's exactly 130 years old this year. Um, and I just love history. Like I love to walk into a place and look around and think, what did that, you know, that when did that crack happen or when did who put up that like crown molding and whenever I go up and down my stairs in my home, I think about the ladies who used to go up and down in their Victorian dresses and I just find it really fascinating how people have lived their life through centuries. What are their experiences? What are their stories? like what made them them. Um, and I love discovering that. I think learning from history, you can improve on your future. So that's maybe something people wouldn't expect about me. I don't know. Another thing, I guess, fun fact is that like I seem very confident, and people always tell me they're like, oh, you know, you're very handsome, or like, you know, you're very like. I always tell people like I'm not really a people like a people person, and they're always like shocked. And they're like, what do you mean? Like you seem like everyone would love you, and I'm like, I actually work really hard to be what you see. I was a nerd in middle school. And I had this sweater that I would wear every single day. It was a black sweater, and I would hide myself in the sweater. I had a lot of acne, and I never talked to anyone. I was like, I would just lock myself away in my room, and I was addicted to computer games and virtual worlds and living my life on a virtual world. And somewhere along that way, there was this lady that came into my life, and she was like, you have the potential to be. She saw all these things in me that I didn't see in myself. And she helped me gain confidence. So without her, I probably would be like a recluse, like in my virtual world, and like I don't know, just like 30 years old in like a basement somewhere. And she changed my life. So yeah, that's maybe something that a lot of people don't know about me, is that like, and deep inside I'm like a nerd and a little like just like very shy, very insecure. And I work really hard to try to be confident, and you know what, like showing parts of myself online, and even with people in person, like I realize is a good thing. Like it's okay to just show up as yourself. Like you don't have to feel insecure about it. So what are you learning to love about yourself? I'm learning to love the mistakes that I make. Like that has been huge in my life lately. I can get like emotional talking about this, because I always felt I always wanted to be perfect. Like I just wanted to do everything perfectly, and I'm like go all out in everything that I did, and like people please a lot, and I didn't even know that I was doing that. And now I'm just like learning it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do things that you're not proud of sometimes, because you're learning and you're growing. And you can't grow without taking risks. I was listening to this interview from Hannah Montana the other day from Miley Cyrus, and she was like, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And sometimes you take a risk and it doesn't work out. And you have to give yourself mercy and grace to be like, I took a risk there. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. That's okay, you know? And yeah, and I live my life through that now. I'm like, okay, I want to continue to get that big reward, so I gotta take those risks. And so just, you know, moving and growing, um, telling myself, okay, like today you didn't do what you wanted to do, or you weren't who you wanted to be yet, but that's okay. You know, tomorrow's a new day. That doesn't mean that you're going backwards. It just means you actually that you're going forward, because you recognize the mistake, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna try not to repeat that. Even if I repeat it 60 times over, okay, I'm recognizing it every time. Tomorrow will be a new opportunity for me to get better in that. Um, so yeah, I think I'm learning to love my mistakes, which is difficult. Um, why should someone come to a Yinzers Meet event? I think like just like you want to do something fun, like you want to do something fun that nobody's ever done before. All of our events, I try to do something, not copy anyone's idea, like just something no one has done in Pittsburgh. And so that can be an opportunity. It's like, oh, fake wedding, never been to that. Or, you know, like we did Among Us in real life, which is a video game that, you know, it's like secret identities. We just had a country event that was a denim night, you know, line dancing. Maybe I've never done line dancing. Try something new, meet someone new, you know? Like I said, you don't know who you're gonna meet. Like, don't go there with the expectation, I wanna date a girl, I wanna date a boy, or like, I wanna make 15 friends. Just go and see what happens. You know, we make it really easy for you to meet people and to interact, and we've done what we can to help you guys out. But either way, you're gonna have a fun time. New place, new people. Why not? You know? And it's like very affordable. I know a lot of events that are not affordable and have nothing to offer, and people still go. um, Next question. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? Any final thoughts? My thoughts are I talked a lot and I rambled, and I'm sorry that you guys had to hear that. And how does it feel to be seen? Great. Um, yeah, it's like I didn't do this because I wanted to be seen. I am already seen. I definitely have a great relationship with my creator and God. And so I feel seen every single day. I think everyone should have that in their life. Like, if you don't feel seen, find it in other people or find it in the divine. I think the divine is much more steady and stable. And so, but yeah, it feels good to make a new friend, and hopefully anyone watches this and they can relate to me, or um, they're able to go out to an event and I change the trajectory of their life in that way. Like, that makes me really happy that I made an impact and I fulfilled my purpose today. And then it says, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sam.
No, thank you. I'm honored.